Kyei Innocent, a political analyst, akwadanya nsafo. Oni Mugabe masi edin simbi atudwa ewo TVSYZ ni na efa pandai rerun elections ehun. Nabusia enye no nko a matters arising biti say yura John Dramani Mahama omu aye no I think say African Union 2027 ECOWAS members no country members in ECOWAS state members no atimi unanimously ayo madwin say yura John enye the chair in 2027 sankomodidi ni wo and awochire mu a John Dramani Mahama the third term na yon no be decided na mum ye Ghana for come ye plus nso edin sem tudwa ochire mu a obe tested the laws because John Dramani Mahama, President of Republic of Ghana, must go for another term. Abusia enkomono doso ye bekọ ye kwakuti na mesro so do comment betum na wa like na wa share na fufuro enye biahwe hanom ya number 1 authentic platform Mega TV yankopon enhira na onka ho na abrebia no mo support am de my platform we eso yankona yenkoti Kyei Innocent eni Mugabe masi hawa omusi atwetwe omo nkombo ewo afidikese TVSYZ eso wo na yekoba yedinaka ina atoaso ewo platform we eso yankopon nhira yentie sani bi yekoba ebeto aso
I think that Mugabe Mamencha na menchia bebraya share menchia wati for me ba ha che ya na ne wano dos nti na ya no mo dia change but I had you fie high fie when the one ne say nye yes your body abafie I think that it's very important say ye guswa ye can say mean we need to also set the record straight because Mugabe the whole idea ye some fast one say nipa bete nema say na say we make subsequent political decision choices bia na you be informed based on accurate information nema asi by koduba bi na say nipa bi share adwo so be share ato nsema gun from just to deceive people. I'm not sure say politics, you know, that is where we are. Politics na ya adwuma 1992 by Ghana for any BA they want to do factual politics and as for there is this thing I know na soldier need be frame you're very much worried about what could never be social media na dey say Ghana soldier for no call UN no or more say aban UN Jessica Kasia momo but aban fa say sika ni nyina bi no wa fa keto bi da momo see some of this information are very sensitive and this are kind of one can you may end up inciting the soldiers against authority or the state and then you now also threaten the infrastructure of democracy na you seeking to build so such misinformation as say you're shutting it down some people among for who say UN Jessica Buma so that for mo UN mission and aban fa exactly. And some of these things and sorry sir buy me sorry or say musika mafadi doesn't work like that say that here say am no ka say you want operations in as for you and ankasa or challenge American are now the biggest financier of UN
Bush person or withdraw and call for
exactly
funding
yes US in the finance afibia 1 billion your friends $1 and on the conclusion Donald Trump by or say American first policy and introduce and for that particular reason or withdraw the sikana kakra so instead of 1 billion last year he gave about $680 million instead of the usual way so you and Nankasa when the challenge I drop it and it is almost standing we are from Moba it's around 52 to your friends 50,000 soldiers or more reduced by 25% or more 14,000 and it's a one I'm going to say more call we blue bafia and Ghana by the blue bafia and you and because of budget constraints what cut it down some of the soldiers what I say be mo akofie enti say we here no free ma
you know the say Trump was raising up
exactly because his back and forth on the geopolitical arena and why was be a winning the back and forth with the UN of which American kwana be so the sika dia more and other financiers like China, Japan, France or sika no more the bad e kakra bi US is virtually financing everything and you know Ghana soldier for no UN no Senator Ghana or that long-standing your friends we are the soldier for the whole world. It will interest you to know say Ghana are the 10th country had more personnel echo for UN. Yes, and that has been there. But this is what UN does. They every day beyond Ghana for soldier for no, they pay them $46 a day. Ya only soldier ni na ko UN operational. Ya amount $46 a day. Side your market so $46 no. Never say 30 days. All the time say ubenya averagely $1,300 to $1,400. That is what UN pays to Ghana soldiers. Now Ghana by say 46 you know. I am paying every soldier per day $35. So 46, you know, Ghana buying so almost is like almost close to 80% of the money.
So we can travel arrange.
Yes. And you know, 1 year with $11 actually. Say $11, you know, I buy the average $700 extra ticket now. I'm wakwaba. Answer abako UN operation. You know, could be controlled for 2 weeks. And then we did the near money and I buy it here. So you know, Ghana buy will have to find extra cash to support. So it's totally your friends and you know out of so book from where I incite to say that for against your friends in the state because and yes it's very dangerous because you see some of these things your security is very very important and some of the young people in army no cannot turn a dreamer and I never be a cool you don't need a reason to do a coup because a try of here so I think that is very very important say you better sensible that you and going forward maybe a $46 no credible because Donald Trump now you the second year for me you and in Tom Banch on Tom board there yes and you and some Tom Banch on Tom board there what I say Mugabe you fans you and nigga on Tom board there on Tom Banch when you so that kwakutia say kind of member state the ban and or here minima and when your budget controllers are there may cut it down nipa de bi nko na bi ma you so bi kwa
tomorrow more control kan so munim so musu beja
so go there and again I think that there is also another important thing I have to clear because na say who adebian social media brand say on the we hope na say John Mahama tam 10 billion e dey akwa share your friend say e sobe up the city na say sika no nke betimi e dey yes, as a 24-hour economy. Now, this modern day, a journalist will sit on radio and advertise such sheer ignorance. It's very embarrassing. And no one tells you for a colleague. Na bisado say ade we menti asese na city e bogabi yakasa aban de sika e ba be shovel up dollar na asefo a enye say aban akota we bisika na sika na de be sheme ya to obi na ira it doesn't happen like that and that is a long standing your friends say monetary intervention we uko America there is something called standard swapping line with other countries who say US no try the dollar but on to he doesn't need any dollar reserve na but country outside US no hold the biggest your friends say reserve China that is about $3.4 trillion and this is what they does some person musically is stable then because of they have that direct line with America no and we release sika dollar at the moment now with our system just to take care of the stress it is a long standing practice across so bagana higher than say abai edisika ba aba shame ama dollar na broswa the challenge is say one tree aba ben reserves that is a challenge but IMF we na no no your typical instructions say at least you can import cover 3 months there so we how say we know say Ghana ISCD that import cover and which means that there is enough reserve because of gold board and other monies are coming so government has that particular money in excess and sikano ya nile say ya kwa koche government and say sikano ba so that commercial banks will have access to dollar the Ghana government will take back the cedi And Abasana, you also mops the SSCD in the system. I take care of inflation. And I say inflation is 6.3%. And I don't say one to see a non TV, so radio, so advertise ignorance. Now, yes, because as you can it's just government exchanging the dollar for CD. Ebe masa we na yes stable. So you can say I bind the sika be she we ma. And yes sika na yera ana say nke de you betim na ya for sika nyan ko ba de ya kasa sika. But just say government want to make dollar available to commercial banks. Obi be there any trade in as for no ma. Ebe ya available. When it happens so because the only time I dollar ebo kosoro. Then when people want the dollar and they are not getting it. And then the man will never. But when it is in the system, the banks have access to some of these monies. I don't think that is a problem. But it's a challenge.
Initial comment.
Okay.
Kakra na fe ne yanko to the main issues. You know, you better AU chairmanship. Who is ECOWAS unanimously or more endorse His Excellency John Dramani Mahama say 2027 or non-call general mo and asani eba no so no over the weekend you may be in the course so don't maybe I will do initial
maybe I'm saying I can say about patriotism and they need to also show recognition because honestly I'm saying now you also thinking say Ejuma my internet say I buy anything more money come. I'm sure in relationship I never need Dr. Samuel Sapon.
Fantastic.
Now in
the region.
You understand, very formidable. Now and they are NDC why I kono Ashanti region is because of
Alaji Sani Soko.
Alaji Sani Senior Soko, over the weekend. Didn't you know? I mean some of the information I you begin to wonder say party is it really on course to say obey to me I sustain any gains now because if you want to sustain your gains the grassroots any team supporters now omodo buy and the more you look at them well and in the bema when the motivation and the support for another election
10 days to Christmas
you understand 10 days to Christmas and it's it's very important say party ni betumi amana ni akọ ni base ni so na enko say after an election you mentioned gold board okowa me na mate bad me nyangu so kwa the line and a queue over a month for copper or man is doing very at times you begin to wonder say now why should it be so and that's the more reason why this 24-hour economy some of us you feel say it's a very reality because a job creation bar and no bet say sa emebunu na omu atu atisa na oma petene so obi abenya baby to feed and they are some of the unemployed groups I shall say our person agitations near dinner is because they feel say or matine fiache and that 24-hour economy should be a major focal point for this government because I buy it me easy and no neba buano am office our pressure na eba appointees so eba or mine so with unemployment in a swati it is our call me there as on okosujina so until the year end
security concern say
a major security threat because where Sri Lanka you see Sri Lanka it was just unemployment youth felt say or maximum and at times do you look at the lavish lifestyle of some of the politicians and no so a shankro for so it is not a politician now in appointment try to still keep your low and when you are now for no game boy when you scan a roof no be person flaunt scan my mouth for a baton
fantastic
no an appointee daily livelihood or lifestyle and I'm out for share to see say they can learn something from it no about buying so but I appointee now you also want to flaunt your luxury on people and none of my buying no bad time more
fantastic
and to know it is very important then again the issue I now raised about Lumba there on say a bit into the creative arts and now earlier on I was saying Kabani Crown adopt Lumba a year as a state funeral so I buy a state funeral new year. Now, if your family now can litigate the properties near the fair enough
because no for assistance
because Albania state funeral donations be a baby Albania will split it evenly among the families it be a first wife second wife and even the children hence so properties be litigate our court I know your mom lie but the only man honestly I take away the shine any munyama number benya because only a Ghana's Michael Jackson Opo and it's also a year from day one or 2 year any whole confusion about the amount for year the good who fee the busiane so ye ne ade ni nyina it has honestly taken away the shine from the the ceremony. Entinka a teacher ni anintine sen ko omoko na omutumi ye hye nanimunya nyina no we missing out of the ceremony. And I'm believing say we no so be a better ho ama going forward no na ye beja ye chie because wow can say you need that nipa beto and as nipa to so ana ya sheda ye bibi asif so ene ye nyesua hunu bi de asie de ye adisia kese de mayen 1 week here we free home. Even look at the fallen heroes, the 8 heroes here and how sorrowful like the nation got. Arahu two or mine ni adimina no. Ask yourself, say after some few months after our burial no, you see be from as a nation. Even when it comes to safety methods and safety approach, you see be from. You see enkoto wi nhye say ebeto sanya mani no. What have we learned out of this? Yes, another tragedy near the another talk shop. Until this the time the moment an incident basi na measures in place. We put stringent measures in place. Lessons as you see the film where has to be laid out. But the just a ceremony. Then it becomes a fashion for us. You feel so anytime, any day, we bet me see. And I'm believing say going forward, and finally I would like to drop on JM and Abasubono Koji Yoruba Hinene. Also politicians say your mom honest academic honest and academic titles are at times they are not for ensure and recognizes her, but when the honor is coming from a traditional authority among for sumu in high esteem, and one of such honest any day JM Koji Yoruba Hinene. Now only can be about John Mahama and the attributes said you see Lucifer even in opposition and also in power. And for us in Ghana here, we see a better testimony of our leaders are abontenso for kafa because at times you might not see the clearer picture. You feel so good, but at times when you go outside and you hear the abontenso for the kafa and then share how people perceive and see us in our ways. And on any can be about time a JMO position. Now even a person obeying any assassin. And even onya power any adinina. And for me that's where we have to look at. Now you are ECOWAS. They've also endorsed him again. Say onuna ECOWAS president, access to him. Of course, now one appointee, very sad. And I'm thinking say we have to look at external factors a comment Ghana. Nebo mine about so especially leadership. Say you share no from that angle. Yeah, if you know Ebeka Yakuma, I'm afraid no. Ye be any ahwenye because say yeah who ni na bontinso fu who ni ya. Abontinso fu ba be fakwa. Yeah, if you ni be dampan. We just said yeah betime see ECOWAS for beko yeah mokwa kwisi nkonya. Na amama odo be ye dun say nyina na Ebeka say John Mahama and the person we now no okay ECOWAS sub-region now. Almost half of the member states, are being ruled by military rulers. Yeah. In Tibega, say a non-democratic. Half, Mali. You understand Niger, Guinea and others. Say the back has now fallen on country and the democratic credentials, top notch. Yeah. And Ghana since 1992, the democracy when you tainted. You understand? Any military intervention, upheaval, or takeover. And they look at those credentials. Fantastic. One government handing over to another government, a smooth transition of power. Yeah. Since 1992, irrespective of the noise and all that. Even say and Tokwabeba, casualties are very minimal. Yeah. Unlike other countries, even Senegal for a transition from one democratically elected government to another, they lost over 100 lives. Cote d'Ivoire recently, they lost over 200 lives. And they look at all those things, and as Adenis was also rotational. And ocean from the rotational point now, Ghana it deserves to be the chair. Okay. And I face omu JM in high authority. Say no stand out among the peers. Yes. We have somebody like Nigeria, Tinubu, for instance, age has caught up with him.
Yeah.
The energy, to even steer a populous country like Nigeria, no, it's missing. But all of it is a JM and the drive, the energy, the zeal, the charisma, everything about him, no, is something that Africa needs now. And that's what Africa is now lacking in terms of our leadership, no. And if you have a leader, or you're that firm and stronger, the thing can say such a person, no, he's learned a lot whilst at backstage.
Yeah.
Into us, just like me. For the past 6 months, I've been off air.
Yes.
Steady. Into Mesaba back on air, no. I'm coming with some renewed energy.
Fantastic.
And some sense of, aggression there. I'm hungry for power.
What is it?
You understand the hand? Such a character is His Excellency the President. And I'm not surprised until 2027 on chair AU and from ECOWAS to AU large.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping and praying say JM ECO AU obet me spearhead Africa. Your unity ni ye de na Gaddafi pe ya amem de na Kwame Nkrumah pe amem de na Haile Selassie pe amem Patrice Lumumba pe amem Mandela pe amem Mugabe mu pe na amem. This is the new Africa, a reset of Africa. Because honestly, so if we have leaders, stand on their grounds, how much Africa is worth in terms of resources. So if you are to match Europe or any of the blocks, whether Asia, whether Europe, or whether America, or even the Arab world, you mean your worth. We will stand on our grounds. The African our continental unity.
Yeah.
So if you're able to unite in terms of our resources, we break boundaries and barriers. Now, we are able to trade freely amongst ourselves. Now, it will multiply against us. We can stand on our grounds. This is Africa here, technology.
Fantastic.
When you're able to advance in terms of technology, yes, you're able to stand toe to toe with the Western world. And maybe a challenge now. Where are we pushing our resources to? We are mining. We are extracting a lot of resources from the soil and from the sea. But they develop your continent. So we have new leaders almost try to stand on their grounds, like this Burkina guy, Traore, even though he's a military leader, all the kind of transformation, energy, or the bahona. Among for teacher the man, same as John Mahama Govt. And we are just open and praying and say, going to the African Union, it's a bigger stage. Now on Concord Ghana and in first on Africa and in Nafi, you showcase what the world Africa has to offer the world.
John, yes, I mean recently a year in your course United Nations statement or make you honor and now a year leaders or more equals or more sorry say papa win was say man ekona okoye AU chair now.
Yeah, and no could be part because I'm say words carry a lot.
Yeah.
And the more we espouse a lot of positive things, words, people will also want to give you that power. Yes, yes, action speaks louder than words. That's one thing. But your words are now going ahead of your actions. So if you are giving us the words, give us your actions. And I'm hoping and praying, say, United Nations is a platform, and mind you, most presidents have speech writers.
Yes.
You can be the best speech reader, but you'll be a backyard enye. We are looking at the words and some would they put Africa there? Would they stand on your grounds? Now, back home, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Recently, you know this diplomatic row with Israel over diplomats foreign affairs minister. You could see, say, we are standing on our ground, say, as a sovereign state, or maybe to me NTTI, so no matter how big you are. And these are some of the things. That was a powerful speech of United Nations. And for John Mahama, somebody who is a communicator and a media person there, when it comes to Eritrea, you can't falter him.
Okay.
He's always top notch. On him how to, break the ice.
The game.
He understands the game.
Issues.
You understand him Anna Wasa Kubida. He's a diplomat. He knows his acts. And you don't expect him to falter at such a bigger stage. I'm happy to say he delivers such a powerful statement. I mean, I'm a Ghana, a watch for the world. Says he'll be a person who says, so that's the president of Ghana. Where is Ghana on the map? which part of Africa, Yenko Ghana, to do business, to go see Ghana, opportunities available.
Gateway to Africa. No?
Gateway to Africa. Yeah, the reset agenda is still on, and nobody can take that away. And I'm happy say reset no the amount for her pan is a bit to corruption as NDC by Omukai Nafi no Yahoo say we are consolidating our gains for the future, and for me that's what we have to do
in office. How would you assess his performance so far, achievement in terms of achievements?
Honestly, I'll score him 75%
out of 100.
Out of 100. If I score you 75%, let us what perform because any money be a catching, but intina. Former President Kufuor Khan, a time back sinker, you review our constitution, you even the political term. So even if we are going to make it one term, which is 7 years, you have enough time to develop the country.
Fantastic.
Honestly, so if you have a 7-year mandate, it be our first year, no, what power, what the better appointments, what the best sort of amount for near day, I feel we'll go into the books after transition.
Second year, I'll be soon now.
The second year, I'll be soon now, so because I know so 2026 is going to be action year.
Fantastic.
Projects are ya cut soda, buying a person, you mean, 2026. You know, that express road, the fantastic project. No, I said, now why do you know what kind of thing? No, we in the Kumasi, me a programmer NPP for a tata, me crying for roads consistently for 8 months. Now I spread out reporters to all the deplorable roads.
Fantastic.
And they were giving us feedback on my morning show.
Yeah, they're done.
Crying for roads. It's a record in the region. That time NPP was in power. Mayors our project, no almost the NDC for me scan me tata buy or so. And you say, oh, Kumasi, I am the perception is you can't speak against the ruling party, which is NPP.
Yes.
But I stood my ground to say, some more buying the was so there. Region, we develop region in Yakono.
Why, so?
Oh, to me, oh, and you know, say, JM, et me Abosa Express Road in the so. Now, a non crown, who to NPP for so say, if that project lives to see timer a bit me am unpopular there. Who am I Mugabe? Who am I? The government just needs to shine its face.
Fantastic.
On all those infrastructure no.
Okay.
Otumi yepe ubon sa fe na be ma region mu aye. Now it's more of a swing. It's becoming, you know, a divided region now.
Very well.
NPP for Jinafa, NDC for Jinafa. It's like going down for a 50-50 fight.
Okay.
And so they have to know what's ahead. Now I'm consolidate all those gains. Send a bear, a buying them, a to me, a pager, a region, and a stronghold. Now, so to me as our project, you know. Almost me at the 24-hour economy, no. Almost me employ
women banking.
No, they say no. I mean, scan you try to hold that the entire day, so. But maybe focal point power now, no. It's with the unemployed youth now. Oh yes, I JM my interview twice.
Okay.
My interview JM twice. That's quite time by election, no.
Okay.
That's a number of Fox FM.
Okay.
Or no by only I'm up on
2008
more time by election or no ambassador Hineje Kunni I'm up on call.
Okay.
Betnam and on one side. So our program is on mama party be so be super massive watch so many of men didn't to abamo any and then mama part was on that show. Kwesi was on it and Afi former foreign affairs minister Obo Akosio Seji.
Okay.
3 here, 3 there.
Yeah,
and you know, and I'm a bar Cry FM, so I hosted him. Okay. That was in 2020.
Okay.
You know, and you know, many one-on-one with him paying. Now I know the persona, meaning say Orobia or Brennan Wasina or say and now the information you hear from some of the NDC appointees, they say JMD now he's a change person, Charlie Papano, O Kasano Watkins and the near break, they all see Yen and Yamano. And Nadia will be a bit me rough, and then I asked them, would you do? I'm saying, Charlie, see a corner, and you could see, say he's a change person. Now, let me focus, no, and you know, say, obey, leave a legacy. And I'm like, wow, that's how leaders are born.
Very well.
You know, so to yes, Anyama now, his name is going to, you know, be in our annals forever. Yeah, it's a legacy for him.
Fantastic.
We are all praying and hoping, say, things will change for the better. Not Ghana to me from
very well. Thanks so much, my very good brother, Kwabra Pra Junior, the Dawn. Live on TVS YZ and also on Power 97.9 FM. You know, Kyei Innocent and so at Nasa. My call also on Afi. You have Fadi Akari and so. Alvan, over to you.
Mugabe, I think that on ECOWAS, Nina hinge on current development in West Africa and Africa at large. And I think that Obia are very much concerned about Africa's development. To be a here the state of play, you'll be very much concerned because Obada sorry and Yasiku Asiwo Guinea, Adiachi Ku Asiwo Burkina Faso, Ku Asiwo Togo. When these news spring up, I communicated one thing, a choice the fate Africans our democratic institutions in Nihobium because around a man for who democracy is just young to Abanayan bang the Akani my way, and I think over the years all have you use political power to abuse this democratic your friends system no as for no ma e can be and a man for a lose trust and confidence and actually Ghana I bet him the example and Ghana for na sebi you need that mature in terms of democracy and near my man for you coup around us in Ghana you came under the previous administration the government became so belligerent intransigent as okay there's a some or the castle win or by we are dying and run over the government was not ready to listen to anybody and to say near my way the man for lose faith in democracy and so around that a lot of some of these things are happening because of Sanyama way, and it is very important. We must begin to look at these things over the years. Now, yen turn the narrative. Sebaya once again, the African will get that particular hope. And that last we say, I can rely on these institutions, these structures. I will be me fire because everybody will become a law unto himself, and the pandemonium and chaos will continue just like we've been saying in Africa. And again, I keep telling people, says I will hear Africa, open continent here, our enough potential. Human resources, we are the most valuable continent on the planet. When it comes to natural resources, we are the most valuable. I want to now here on mind to say Nigeria, the whole world open my and the fertility rate higher it means alcohol young and crank to an and cry about on my 2 pound Niger averagely about 6 to 5 and it's a heavy resources because everywhere in the world open so 2 point you need human resource and America and other place like Germany we had the rate at which or more running as if clearly in the next 20-30 years it's going to affect the economy because we and our economy. But Africa, unfortunately for us, the youthful population on the world, you find them in Africa. So when it comes to this resources, the most valuable resources that a country will need to develop, Africa, then come to think of the natural resources, gold, diamond, whatever you can think of in this world, it will be. And by the saying and poverty, I try to now back down to this politics of greed in as a former Emma Sandeman Energy Yabrabum and Yawan Neman Ohiana Adengena to Africans development development. So going forward, we need to sit down and see say going forward and then here as a continent and I think so Ghana is here presently. Baby Anayanam, Abrabo Anayanam, Kufa pencil, Equas Fan Quasset, and I say, you're risky, Sanka, now John Mahama comes into the picture, and 10 months after, we had that kind of transformation that is happening in Ghana. You'll be inspired to do say, oh, okay, so you heard, baby, I'm not Ghana. This is our Maya. I'm not buying here from there. Your friend saying, commercial space. We could not even go to borrow money. Yeah. And Sika IMF a paltry $3 billion. And now buying 2 gold board intervention to be generated over 7 billion within 10 months. And so certain people are thinking some intervention has been brought to bear. And again, Adiana Emma Ohiana attitude of my way, you say, you copy all the statutory funding. Sikano Kogube Bila Kwabrani didn't say one of the biggest, one of the safest way is to uncap all these. And here now called district assemblies in that there is a cash flow. And until I know better, I can't say you see your friend is saying chief compound Afibia because the president has taxed them. Say Afibia making sure say see your friend is a chief compound. Yes, it's because of the money has been released. What I say, and this way now what's in China where so what is the magic? Because baby and Ghana Gina all the credible rating agencies in now right here out. And I am Moody's, Fitch, S&P, Ed Dangote, Junk. Na Ghana Obo Ghana. So 10 months after everyone is saying that this institution will write their score on Ghana. Now, on more rating and high. It means that something has happened. And Mugabe, one significant thing that you need to know is that until recently, the inflation ended 53. Because a binary turn Bank of Ghana into a pension press, yeah, that's alright. Yeah, printing system. Then, inflation, yeah, to our 24. Then the government comes in. Come out with a certain intervention. A seminar can say your project is about the end of the year. You better end with either 8 or 7. So see, I'm 6.3.
If the fundamentals are weak,
exactly. Exchange rate. And so yes. Then you come to debt to GDP. We were hovering around your first IMF. The way at the back somewhere around 100% because now your debt is so much. Say now you're into and I'm not your patch out. So see, I'm not say your debt to your GDP is around 45%. These are factual where you can't rebut them. Irrefutable fact. Said this is what is happening. Then the dollar, it was around 17, 16, and then you can see stability. So dollar is not just about 10 or 11. It is about stability, so that the business community can plan. So in the next 1-2 months, but we are planning the business within a certain frame. And for me, that is inspirational. I mean, ECOWAS, to many other African countries, now they see the signs. And I don't know, you see, the coming back of John Mahama, there is something that people know here. He has been there before as president. First one, they say, but the fact is that being there as president, he's very assertive. He's very bold in making decisions. On India, say, because being there, that experience is there. He's tried and tested. So there is no time for mistake. Anything that we say within a short period, or mining moving in a certain direction. 1 year without scandal. Because I know the war by nobody would do. Wow, we do about what you do. Exactly. Oh no, sir. But we are going to do. We are fine. Because that time I'm for them, I could for the name for Christian. We are time now. I could for the other person. President, but yeah, they are man are doing some. People cannot be my agent. What I say, it is not about say obi time. The fact is, I do the right thing, and for me, I think that some of the interventions are binding book. For instance, appointment to enemy and. Look at the number of ministries or sati here. Yeah, by a sati ministry kafuza. Yeah, by a dumano doso. I could for the government and then that to be the most useless government in the history of this country. Another 4 problem. And the 4 years in the year. So these are near my abino. Something has changed. Something fundamentally a change. I am a Ghana for improvement and inflation. You're saying and near my tolerance as a forum. So, and there is discipline. The rate at which a government expended, Sikana Yamfa means a Muna Yamfa Yankas, some other young Kobankwasi, Musema, a Kamatoy and so. So, Adia Kosubiano, Ghana for Nano, IMF say, a buying Sikana, what time or Bank of Ghana with a Baba set dollar, no. IMF Nanka say a Bonio. They say they wanted government to exhibit transparency in the way it is done because that is a normal practice that is done everywhere. Then, in September, the government came out with a clear guideline telling people how much they are pushing in. Olaka says September I am putting 1.4. October I am putting 1.2. Last month I'm putting 800. So there is transparency. So you can't say aban be aban papa. And yes, aban papa dey on the mistake. Aban on mistake. O can obetie na why do. For instance, my men can venture lithium D whereby I think in the wisdom of the government, if we say company na ko hete snag because there has been a significant drop in your friends and lithium sikano and the company no waje what na sign ko won't be jim from is about also onye and they are promising the party a bit too more free because as part of the negotiation they have to be relocated amount for more away nothing is happening then the company comes to government say muhammad I don't know no your first we need tons near $3,000. It's I drop it to $1,200 and the akasi a year beboka. So that negotiation the cost wa I didn't reduce about 5 then Ghana for so say dabi akufo do 10 buy kwa see mpena your first and the man na ho eti Ghana for cancer say abai not say if that is what you are saying there you let us pause yam kwa na Ghana for nko engage na yen nyina ya ti ho ase a yen ka say yakase be no 11 na buy you shall pass so abmamu no wona na ewu no wa mo akonya na me na me ya busua panyina se mu na de bedi nipa na de tumi ama wo lumba ya fa say na busua panyina say ye de obi aka nya sasem bi ache no nti ona ye obeye a family settings you can do that nonsense but in governance Mugabe unti me di sanse bu no
your mind no
mind nipa na de tumi ama wo what I say you need to respect the people nya busua konya that is why yes anything sa issue no buy no the government and the ministry of land no apostle said then let us do a wider consultation say be ya nipa bete no ho say enti ye move that decision will not be a sole decision of government but the people of Ghana are involved
no ko fe bo abon
exactly
sorry man just a point of order on say sir rational former lands minister Jinapono every year causing side deal no Mugabe is on the record when it comes to mining and adwuma ya mining communities those days new Monteba Hafo agitation say buy and no boama ye bie ya ni wo you know contracts
2004
2005 am I how contracts are signed and all that compensation as you know settlers ho and no anye and so mutumi a documentary ed be kire yen sa ahimfo na gye atum nti sa ohene ni gitum a na no kire se fiani na ono no nafuo ne ye twakwan ne dia fam no ono agye atum and so mo yes documentaries ni na in the rush that be portray so community crown community na dey mine in the crown
for bemo that am wakam
yeah you remember those days new months time no now wakam back in the crown how many do you of wakam West Africa Association of Communities Affected by Mining and to know say if there is a restructuring of the agreement near go back to the drawing board fair enough because we need to do proper consultation and proper community engagement because a sick pain first second third and many times say you could do a good deal with Krobiswa you should have the needed community engagement so we say into don't say you know now the whole agitation ba honey na bon say they are not musu yet but say only a good drinking source of water e be omo no buy na saying
social responsibility
so even the compensation I see at them per their crops and their farm size in the crown and you know dey ma omo
so me be siri ntino o he sa na ma we nyina na ya kase aban aban papa enye aban papa na the only mistake now when mistake how do you take from there by making sure so you respect the people what I say because governance here nipa na ye tumi nipa na the man and I had a resounding victory John Mahama onya ya na quite clearly is a Ghana for fed up now no make catch you be say cool West Africa in 2024 no Ghana can rubio by there no was a democratic revolution I koto about go aban na so twen form yes because who am for a t-shirt boy aka 9 pen me say mo yare 9 no in percentage na ye pe 9 in the history of this country when I lose elections 9% now say a pe aka 9 pe as I go in Mugabe because 9 is one of the biggest loss Obi suffer in the history of this country. You don't do a t-shirt and say 9 pe. It means you are endorsing that particular thing that we are. So for me, I think say baby I doing menka say Ghana yes Dubai. Menka say mistakes and I'm not saying everything is perfect, but you see me purpose so who say wako wedima to anywhere we be na wujina. Now what be aware there. I think that there is a wide gap in terms of comparative analysis and Ghana for new be and no na West Africa. And you have said the whole of Africa. A man for who said John Mahama by despite the difficulty and Ghana he has been able to usher Ghana into a certain realm. I hope once again it's back on him. And to say a fan say I'm not maybe ECOWAS and because ECOWAS many of the countries are angry with the way a man over the years are standing as a white elephant the same way EU and Fasobia so it's like a useless entity of Fasobia. So exactly so you need somebody who can bring certain to bear. Every countries now like Burkina Faso, they walk away from ECOWAS. Come from ECOWAS cry by so you need somebody over collecting all these in a quest for development as a united front Africa. Yes, because he has been very free with the affairs at Tuare and other countries. And I know Cote d'Ivoire, the fractana engagement with them today. he's in Abuja and several other places. Now clearly a choice that person because he has been there before, and that connection is how we know that. So it's easy to connect. You understand? And with the depth of experience, I'm sure say let us hope say Yanuma Yabomo Bu about ECOWAS you are if some for some mass over the years because the purpose for its setup we realize it and member countries require don't even respect it. So let us see say the hope and confidence that John Mahama has brought to this country can also be sent to say AU. Some Africa the kind of dignity here because Mugabe said Masiaka Chono and a continent why do we have to go outside cap in hand begging? What I say we don't need because Samuel Jamfi a gold board has demonstrated clearly said there is enough wealth in this country. We can take care of ourselves without going to because Yakopa man for just 3 billion. Now within a short period, it means over 6 to 10 billion our gold border. You need to respect that and know say yes, certain intelligence has been brought to bear. Some comic characters go on TV and they will tell you say the aircraft in United Banda in Shishaya de Gua, in Shishaya Ben, a bang a winning Nansa over Tina Akunas for 8 good years. No one to me on far intervention by Kokra, Ma, Ubenya Son Faso, and Mamma for Gua, and you must see 2 coffee and Sana, so called intervention, so I am for so. Yet to come and educate this, Nipa to cathedral. We are all single-handedly at gold board. That is the sort of intervention that they brought to this country. So up things there, and people wanted to wrap that particular thing by bringing a lot of silly ways or to talk galamsey for gold. And I said, over the years, gold not motor free. First, no motor gold free. To me,
and I say jewelry shop.
Exactly. And I think that sa particular way by yet me replicating our other folder. A bit never none make us even timber crown. We can go the gold board where make sure the government become the only source of export in this particular country. Ambassadors cannot come to government and several other ways. Exactly.
Timber board.
A timber board. And so if you allow people to do that.
Policy in there, FNPP for I don't know, so okay, even after the elections, some about the cancer Charlie. The way NDC, a craft and a draft gold board policy, no. A banisa no man huda. You know, I almost said that.
And I said, I agree. What is why I say, I have my son, because a few years ago, some child would say, no, I believe in the opposition. Look at the conduct of the market. And
now you said, your mama beat me. I know, but you know, did you beat my intent?
Oh, I think that nature is in his favor. Because over all the indicators, economic analysis, be anywhere by a decision. I bet you justify where we are today. And I think the nature itself, because we are not Ghana now, never be another corner. Certain things has to be brought to bear. So we be quicken because not Ghana for here.
Fundamental.
Yes. Now I'm for lose hope. Our democracy. And I on the immigration, cool leader about Kruma. He became a hero. And that was very important. Yes. But Ghana for lose trust and confidence in this. Exactly.
But they say your mama.
But
it became a signal to practically elected leaders to say, so man sit up, no man know what the people want.
Yes. And you know, clearly a choice about something has happened in this country and a boost to Ghana for confidence and not just about a sem kaka otai say ka wo bodo Mahama abaso without anything I for quite take you serious but there are factual realities a bit under penny whatever you're saying and it's a bad gold board ni a bad dollar ni a bad way ni so these are factors undisputed nobody can rebut them without any way there which means something is happening and for me that is Adeba Kwa bringing investor confidence and again these institutions are making sure say we are lying. For instance, the judiciary over the years ruling free court by the biggest court of the land. Ordinary person because ruling with the Nyansaba ordinary people subjecting Supreme Court ruling to intellectual scrutiny and they will tell you say Nyansa be any ruling. A choice that we are investor, you be very careful. And into that, most of our agreement with international way, obviously they don't want to use our court in terms of your friends assembly. Yes, they want to use foreign arbitration or any other court because they do not have or the millions of dollars in their bow. Now, they will not allow that. That is why most of the arbitration so I think that you research, all these critical institutions and agencies are very important. I think that John Mahama should stay focused and lay the solid foundation for a new Ghana that is about to take off. Because my culture says Akufo-Addo era should be consigned as a dark pages in our political history. Nobody want to go back. But going forward, in the future, John Mahama may be seen as the person who built the foundation for the new Ghana taking off. And I think that for that reason, what track it may build on this. Ghana will once again get to our destination.
Very well. Live on TDS Z and also on Power 97.9 FM. Don, all the Rebecca Huana Nafi, you move on.
Yeah, why not? Because say you come about GM there, now there's a lot. Now me the American is going to the African Union, any ECOWAS, no, or bet me put a shine on Ghana Nafi. Beyond the no, you heard what Ghana has to, offer the world, because Ghana, after over 64 years as an independent country, no, and you might be, be a head in so umbu or mining. And you're lacking infrastructure. And sad drive no dear seen and also say key major road projects or bet me within a space of 2 years, because Adibakwa and Hannes says projects or many more. Idea you bet me the paper 200 that come home. Let's speed up a year work in progress. Nobody wants in the paper 10 go. It's a bit slow pace now. And now I'm out for so need BA. From the previous era, near so politicians, it me dilly around projects are no more an election year, not as a bait to win the next election. It's only the free. So that's the one reason I make us say many JM at the timelines are 2 projects need be fantastic. And now no I mean a site tour. Everyone's a one question. You could see a speed up the project. And this the kind of Africa needs a leader who is mobile. Fantastic. We don't need a diplomatic president and a ceremonial president and be our tour near the documents able to 2 years ago we will see total waste. Because if you are president who is always on the ground like Rwanda president here, on this highway, when the MC so under your watch and the Queen's was say, fire 1, 2, 3 all other MCs will set up. Yes. So you can use even one district as a case study. Now, I run across all districts. And for Biaba say challenge, if you don't set up a president, his eyes are on the ground, he will fire you. So we need a president who is mobile. That's why I'm happy for JM, because one, age in his early 60s, so he's still young. Who say physically, he still got that energy and that drive. So this is the time and he needs to be mobile, moving up and down, moving through all the 16 regions. And then within 2 years, Ubonse or Mino and Yama are stabilized, because now I think I lack of my repair national discipline. Everybody thinks to say, your slogan and I motto in freedom and justice. You understand? But when there is, a national policy and an agenda, that's at times I'm catching for say you as a president is like a father in a family setting. Yeah. How you get up in the morning and to 2 fear call gardens, mundo doha, munya planting waha, high waterway near the same way as you as a president or mine is all run because on my mano enaya uma and it's a one shama and call Australia. The same way our president and you saw him more mindfulness to go astray. Exactly. You put them to check, strict scrutiny, discipline. And when our countries need in Rwanda out of war, because this is a president that is always on the ground. And I'll just appeal, say JM comeback, should be an action comebacker. Energy or they buy, where somebody buy a reset agenda near the say you desire energy mind you, half by 2026. This same time, you bet now if you need to be praises, people will just be clamoring and say, no, this president needs an extension of term because of Numa Oye.
You also want to term.
So need your waka. But like you said, if say public cry no basso, we need you for an extension into Nottingham. Now if you need to and mind your mind be a consistency. Yeah. When it comes to consistency in government if you're able to stay for like 8, 12, 20, 16, 20 years and my stability ball minimum and more money consistent trend in development. But NPP they honestly Tinam's general and I'm afraid for that party and what is to come, because saying and looking at all man, they just exist because the word opposition is there. But when it comes to say the word opposition is there, ain't no more when you're from opposition. But pass a to put the government on these tools. So you begin to wonder, say, on what basis do they even exist as a political party?
Serious, or I mean, they
are not serious. It is almost now almost to me unite all forces to put the government on check. Na kwaya se o ma akra ni fie no mo ntumi nsiesie yi a ebede na o mo ya kona magana fo aka se mfetumi ni show munsa ebede into no NDC should keep going forward and keep going on, you know, the trend they are going, you know. Na young fan pai bon town much because here pro the next 4 years no we are living with the NDC into you see it me town machi chia yentino womu. And for me that's the beauty of democracy. So even if you are in opposition now or criticize constructively, a brama unya a bit of credibility.
Yeah.
But so if you are criticizing for criticizing sake because you are an opposition person, and then you lose all credibility, that's why Bantam Pino Ebeka Sansam Nefa Expressway why unpopular so near Sunday school meets, you know, what unpopular no
Sunday school.
Yeah, see, I mean, we grew together in the same neighborhood. We are Sunday school boom. And so Joseph, you and me, my classmates from primary Cambridge to Prempeh College.
Okay.
And as and so you are my Sunday school mates. Oh, Bantu Mama Methodist Church.
Let me do what you baby.
Mango down.
Okay. I think that we see, Baby, you're doing that in our politics and you need 1990 BM and I need 1992. So you can whip public sentiment. So tribal cast and nobody may play or me as Antony automatically more. And the people want to look at the real issues. And we are journalists now. What radio so now we can say men never say you can speak lies. Now I get your way. Because people will fact check you and prove to you say you are hollow. Instead of and you have a basis. So it is very important to our journalist friends out there. When I'm a journalist, let me tell me a journalist. Say answer about the journal from so the concept no. You should know say you are speaking to discerning minds who will subject virtually whatever you say there to critical scrutiny and fact check. So I know that they will not swallow those things. You cannot deceive the public now. And our engagement for credibility sake. We job on now can say making sure that they all can what here. So one here producer not any other person engage them to explain the subject to you. So you don't mathematic. When mathematic you can say Merida Hopa na about $10 billion in a day. Hey, that is pure ignorance. And I say ignorance a bliss, but to advertise it publicly is stupidity. We don't do that.
Journalism, we as hosts and then panelists, always when you sit behind the console, you are to educate, inform, and to entertain. Now, and you would say, "Wow, be a with you."
Yeah, and I will fear about what they seek to do is he is very uninformed, and they want to impose that uninformed understanding on the public and make it with the reality. And as or imposing a twisted understanding of something.
One example. Just a recent example. Also, over the weekend there was a social media video be na JM Sharaf or call event be a military escort be.
Okay.
Now I don't know where the information is coming from. A man fulfill say Abia young man in Mumuna will recruit military personnel on escort. Information I mean say military detail and never as security check. And omo your station or more event na say that. Into only P no and all man escort to baby obekwa kotena. But then when you go on social media, most journalists are flying comments as if say you know onuna recruit the military person so man that escort. Obi say JM reset doesn't include allowing a military person with a gun to escort your son. That is also arrogance of power. Kindly do the needful. But you as a journalist, you should first do your check and find out say boy no or no one recruit military personnel no some fanning co event no or but not in the car mu or no be in the door man no or in the buy and now but when you that check now you this poster now for eventually ABI Information Ministry, Government Communications. Na say Attorney General Godfrey Dami say na so you need to ba we need to do checks on most of these things now. The correct information.
Yeah, so it's very important because some people are very dangerous, especially in American military for the you pack 46 now buy a man almost close to 80%. Now because your money is kaboom no more for dear. At the end of the day, within the military, you must say what salary crowd would your company your deductions are your salaries. Yes. Would you know build a certain animosity be always you incite the forces and the fans send the braba threaten national security. So it is very
military for no professional.
It will take 3 or 4 people to rebel and then we will get explosion. You understand? So I think it's very important.
For that wonderful submission.
Yeah, check for the money. Yeah, 1992 constitution was from no more. When you're born, no way. No, how many years? No more way. No time that your mama na account. And you're gonna for your mama no or the vote here back up. Tim my 46 million and say, "Wo, your person will call or share. What do you want to do? Somebody can say, "Baby, I will not vote no." And you want to Kasama who is a John Dramani Mama. Ghana for a person what yes here. Say Kasama who. Eko was in do say African term. You from Mount AU 10. You from Mount 2027. There Ghana we are there. You know my uncle. Yes, I'm my uncle. There samba bebre. Ya no for way mambo for way yet me tell mo sa me for my will be quarter the call for cry e be mo wako. The power belongs to the people, the masses. Umne to me ni yo modia constitution ni nipa na twe yes sani mani yi in the Bible and in the Holy Quran. Sa Bible does say we constitution no me say antisa Bible we amendment bi a o ma enye yi but constitution we di nipa na twe yitimi sesam emani no enya say wona obesa amanfo no so opese odi o mo so matima amfo na kasa so say wunyu afrododo jomame wunyu afrododo etia ma nkotra fie pese osan atoa so yes sani ebe yo e ma melody na echa wa wie sani ebe Mugabe ne bejina MP eni mitiri musisi a NGS no call any ba me ko for now and come call NGS no ka hwenkyere me yes ba be bia gina sisi a ne de wo ma mo kwatum no se bom no mo so sedi ba de na kama kuma say NGS no se me ka kyere me se mo grassroots no mame bronyai empanifo bia wo ma hwe wo mo kwan yam visit wo mo families Adikuka, Ambassador Sampiale, Alaji Sani Senior Kumasi, Dr. Samuel Sapon Kumasi, Yako Sebu Suafono, O Manebama, Nene Mawajo Machine Sramo, Brenya Enu Mundi, Nenyefe. So Banya Safo Yubunebe and Kanasam, the Angus Nasuma Sami Makano Makari. Yes, and Media Meme Kansu Anamaka. The Mugabe akano e de nyame pe na baba be kano me menya de bia to say selfish me kama me ho no ba ni asoba for the 900 million angels yo ma bia mani se Mugabe kache o man kasache o my Ghana no me kasache o my Ghana me se o man bo ama ne yere ne mabro nya enu omuni ni yie no man kra na nye ma kasache na mo sure. Your mama woni size of Africa. Woni size of Africa. Eko fado ba ya eko waso wan another e bibi. Decision say anya papa nko a. Your mama also ono de onko tetem. Yeda se. Sanya wona ope. Wo de wo so wonko. Ba say wo ye na wudi so wo serve ye ye no ye na wo som ye no ye mre ye se ye pe wa wo beko kotobeku ba ya kufa ado NPP fu mambofo wi hia kai omo ye toiletu anka me wo metwi meto wemo hia kai eni se omo be power iti na wase we kura power ni mu yi eni se omo be power woni be hu kina ba wo na esi ho umni doni tema de mani pa be gu ni pa nwuma ama titifo ma bobra edo pempesuo bi no ya ma omu nyina no ma ba beda fam kama pe wu ya no ko titifo mu gu mu nyuma se omu nyuma Dr. Bakwesi ndomo mimi kasa da bia no se Ghana ni ya adwuma no tumi fra nipa ba ko mienu miensa san nipa no ye bo omo ikrokro mu ye ene hwe heba fui kakran obedu anu afa nurses no afa doctors bibire no munyina ye adwuma bible ni se fa no bra na haba no yadan ensa yare ene spices nko ani edi spices and then we yaba spices we yaba na de agu nkwan mu na nkwan ya pika na anyway de na aduane e do oboa nkwan so te. The authority of head of state of ECOWAS have unanimously endorsed the candidature of President John Dramani Mahama as African Union chair. This comes after his foreign affairs minister earlier showed their support behind him at Abuja. Let's watch and listen.
The authority also has also decided to support Ghana's candidature for the chairmanship of the African Union for the year 2027.
Very well. That's just say somewhat. Oh, tia. So noted multi parliament NPP was a noted. Any person on petetem. Most of us say noted. Nadia anymore. The me bibia me se mesati bia me if you akoya we ya na metiso isi bibia me se mesati bia me wi amomo papa we die jesu okaso wonko oni challenger okaso wonko dia onko but your mama de wa ye wo bosumi duba ko yimo de anwa Ghana fo ntwe ma wo ted ne de obeko this constitution nipa na twere is sani ma achekwa antienzem kwa monya ne 5 years they say twebika ho well de makawi somjo mama ni ndc otiase afa ontiase na obeshepo akoshepo I don't care. And then Monday Pandai NDC Pandai Muntutu Muniemeye. Pandai Muntutu Muniemeye. NDC for the third time. Pandai Muntutu Muniemeye. Samo kosu. Yetiti ni yokosu bi o Pandai.
Even though it was not the right thing.
Muntie 3 Akugan say omu ye Muntie 2 memenka ho Akugan na Moten kan a Deputy National Communication Officer of the NDC wana Moten kan and Juada Monday the 15th of December 2025 Edu Juada say aye meda ti Juada no NG Gabriel na nkasa ni bie kwanum ti o say mekasa mekano boko but utia bo say emu ohye yesoma mi amebeka masem wi amaka wi se jo Mahama was one quarter term and the ono na aka but here if we January hokono the aswabofo ni dan e di kire mi no here demonstrations ebe ha se akọ regions awodo ono se jo Mahama piwo was sign ko biem no ni nyina ye mra se constitution ni pa na twere ye se sane mane ye enti no bibie ni ho ese ho kwan na ni nyina che se wo mo wudi wo mo so no mo nkase wo mo pew manyesa wo na wo de hye bi beto wo mo so se che na me bese me san akobiem na mo nyuma pa na kasa ma wa te mo fo na be kasa papa yi ya ade wo kotene fi akoye de ahode wo mu wo kotene fi akoye de koso a na koso onyame ba jo Mahama ene Monday de Dr. Amponsa Dr. Kodwa Amponsa tenase ne doba pa ba konsu fi ha eye Desmond Desmond so brand who say papa aware you we chimu kwachi wo fi ha pa
de bia meka Ivan Kyei Innocent there one of the best political analysts and one of the best political communicators and as a political commentators you can't go for omo sebi Ghana know how to communicate with the people. In fact, Ivan Kyei Innocent one of them, and we are being papa we are being how to communicate. What let me try to say how to communicate, and I feel like always he's the best. Now I say my vision for I say papa Yera John Dramani Mahama John Dramani Mahama the third term yanko for a root for especially Kwame A plus and the other people omo aji atemonia si I think say Yera John Dramani Mahama sebi budu sebi nyado waba montin so mo fanchemi abeka se waba montin so abeka se ono no de sebi onko for tetem onko for tetem na isan Ghana constitution no inti onko for tetem but Ghana for bi nso esusu se omun twemma Yera John still now he must go for tetem. He must what? Go for tetem because almost said boy Juma for the past 10 months he must go for tetem. Media Megan can many problems are but mama yan kind of call Ghana for a tikuruma a banner man say my Ghana for no dandana say Uncle Jesse Yera John Dramani Mahama actually 4 years na wie and a Ghana for ye koka say oh papa what we dia in the tetem na yes 4 months and 10 months na ye question kutupa Emma ni 3 nyene de na constitution na eduru 4 years ni Ghana for ka say papa wo kra ye ka kire osemen menkwa wase ni legacy. In fact, you are John Mahama I say wase ni legacy adwuma obeboye how we should be bo man Ghana ni nyina wase no inti me megade megade nka misusu se ahombrasem no mumma papa no anyi ne dwuma na onye ne dwuma na mrepa ne duru ho no ma ena ebi hu de bekoso asisi amode agengam no na kosi na yisi no Ghana for you know how to crucify Ghana ye bejije no munja no man nye na dwuma munye se man nko but emre ne duru ho no ma they are the same people who will betray you and who will speak against you. Intino. John the money Mahama. Panini seems to answer Waham. And we know so about Montin Swabeka. So would you take them there and go phone Jacka because you know the consequences. You know how much it takes for someone to be a third term president. Even in Yensida after 1992 Ghana, he draw a constitution. No. It has never happened. Say young president to be our win term we are wakase make term. And neighboring countries na isina. Most of times, you know, and I say I sometimes the won't neighbor because people think say you are a greedy, selfish and want to take over the country. Nti yana nkofo nhyeda nti sa nemanse. But anyway, we see say be twindru ha yempa ne danta. When you get to the bridge, you will cross it. Kira wadwin e wo comment section nim. Amemfa wo si. Yakopon hyira makra. Bye bye.